Hello and welcome to the Nordic Region European Customer Centricity Awards webinar. Thank you all for joining us. We've got some fantastic speakers today, and we hope you all enjoyed the insights given. Just a little introduction from myself. I'm Richard from Architect Global, and we are running the European Customer Centricity Awards, which is happening in Budapest in September. Entries are currently free at the moment, but we are very fast running out of those free entries. So if you'd like to get involved, now is the time to do it. So I'd like to hand over to our fantastic speakers. I'd like to ask them to introduce themselves. So if we start from left to right. So Joakim, if you'd like to introduce yourself first.
I'm Joakim Thorn. I'm the co-founder and XM scientist. And XM stands for Experience Management and spread over the four pillars from customer experience, employee experience, product experience, and brand experience. And actually, we have done this for 25 years. And what we are doing today is helping large corporations to actually do a difference out there with experience management as a whole strategy around how to differentiate where customers and employees stays longer, pays more, and recommend your brand. That's my day-to-day focus. Thank you.
So Veronika Luxemburg, I am the founder of CQX, that stands for Customer Quality Experience. It's a concept combining both of these methodologies together. I'm home-based in Sweden in a place called Västerås, and I travel all over the world doing CX and CQX consultancy, training, speaking events, you name it, working with all types of industries and organizations around the world. And I'm very, very happy to join today. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Sirte?
I come from the happiest country on earth, which is, of course, Finland. I'm the founder and the CEO of a company called Shirute. We are the first customer experience agency in Finland, and we're actually turning 10 years old this year. I myself have about 25 years plus experience in customer experience related fields. We do have offices in Helsinki, about to start one in Singapore, and we are very purposeful about making people happy, because we think that when people are happy, they take the time to look around themselves and they can really think about what you could do for others, and that's really what we are doing, is bring this happiness to all around the world. We are specializing nowadays in something called Lego Serious Play, so bringing great people experiences, whether it be customer experiences, employee experiences, candidate partner experiences, and trying to create those with the help of Legos, so little minifigures and bricks, and that's something that I'm probably going to be talking about a little bit more today. So great to join you all. Thanks.
Thank you. Joakim, are you?
No, it's not working. I do have an echo, a super echo.
It sounds fine on my end. I'm not sure
I do hear myself all the time. I will try to log in and log off again.
Okay. In the meantime, I know that Veronika wanted to begin by discussing what innovation is. So Veronika, I'll hand over to you.
I want to explain, at least the definition and formal things about innovation, because that will be the topic today. And I used to work for ABB Robotics in the past, and as you might know, that's a pretty innovation-focused company. So just really quickly, if you look up in the dictionary, the definition would be a new idea, method, or device, or the introduction of something new. Innovation is all about creating something that's new and useful. And to successfully innovate, you really need to understand what it is that creates a value to people, what needs they have, so to say. And Additionally, many continue to use the word disruption when describing innovation, and it's a word that many people stumble on. So allow me to just clarify some differences in innovation. There are three types of innovation. So number one is the incremental innovation, and essentially that's small steps forward, like going from having 3 buttons to 0 buttons on your phone. And some might call these improvements, but they are still innovations. Then the second one is radical innovations. They're the bigger steps forward, typically around 10 times the improvement. And this type of innovation is like going from an analog camera to a digital one. And you will usually find the radical innovations in large global companies. And then thirdly, when we talk about the disruptive is more about the market reaction and the movement towards an innovation where the old rules no longer apply, so to speak. And when we talk about disruptive, it really doesn't matter what was there before, like Uber, Airbnb, and so on. And the warning as a CX specialist here I have to give is that if the leap is too big and happening faster than people can adapt to new patterns, you could actually end up losing customers. And it's not a very good idea to give the customers, motion sickness with too much disruption. So that's just some stuff on innovation to start off with.
Would you like to start, Joakim?
Yeah, absolutely. So let us take this question, what do you think are the biggest barriers to innovation, as a segue to the real question about innovation. So where do innovation actually starts? So back in 2015, the Swedish singer Måns Zelmerlöw did won the European Song Contest with Heroes and sang, "We are the heroes of our time." I don't know if you recognize it, but Måns won the total European Song Contest, and I think just the heroes, I think from that perspective, the sooner companies realize that it's the customers who really are the heroes and begin catering and to their solicited and unsolicited needs with deeper empathy and greater understanding of the actual problems that they have in their day-to-day life, the better chance the companies do have to building a brand that creates a long-lasting sustainable impact. So basically, heroes, when we understand that the heroes of the company is the customers for real, we can start the innovation process here. And today, I think the biggest barriers to innovation in CX development is the top management that are not so brave enough to think from the outside in and to really understand and feel what the customers are feeling. So they are too dependent on short and fast results. And actually, they are not in balance with long-term results. That's my take on this.
Great, thank you. Sir, do you have anything to add?
For innovation, as in any kind of business development, people would first go and say that main barriers are time, budget, resources, and skills, even a lack of strategy. But I think it's more about having the right attitude, because if you have the right attitude, and then you can solve all of these issues. So you will find the time, you will find a way to. There's always a way to find resources or budget to do things in an more innovative way. And sometimes it doesn't even take any money to do things differently. It's more about being the first one to do things differently. And as far as skills are concerned, if I am taking this from a trained Lego Serious Play facilitator angle, I think that one thing I get a lot when we start workshops is that people are saying that they haven't been playing with Legos for so long, and I don't know how to play really. And it's a little bit like when you're asking people to draw something, they say that but I can't draw, But it's not a question of knowing how to draw really. It's a question of making yourself understood. So you don't need to be, Leonardo da Vinci or do Mona Lisas. It's more a question of having the right mindset to change things. And what we are doing with, for instance, with these Legos is that we're really teaching a new language where people are not stuck with the old ways of doing, post-its and trying to find the one word to rule them all, so that I'll get this really all combined all of my ideas into one post-it note, but rather they can build something with their hands and create and give their other side of their brain really a hand to do things differently. And I like very much, recently I saw an interview with Simon Sinek where he was saying that as Joakim said earlier on, that the biggest barrier may be the leadership of the company, because many CEOs or company leaders, when they are asked to tell about their priorities, they always start with growth, shareholder value, and then they might add customers and employees. But it should really go the other way around, as he said, that you should always put the people first, and then comes the profit. So even if it's a 51-49 balance, it should be more about the people, whether it's customers or employees. And when you have the will, and you make that will happen and the right attitude, you will always find the resources.
Definitely. And Veronika, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just agreeing with with Joakim and Sirte as well. And before answering this, you have to remember that part of my background is in quality, and pinpointing things that needs to be fixed is one of my key specialisms. So bear with me on this response now. And this applies in any company, organizations, or even in politics. So number one, culture. And that is the most important ingredient in a company for innovation creation. I mean, there must be a company climate of innovation, playfulness, and for everyone to feel safe in that. And as we know, the most common culture in organizations is that it's not allowed to break the rules. And research also says that it's more common that companies are pushing back the creative forces because of control and bureaucracy. And it also states that if there's conflict, it kills creativity, like layoffs, cost cutting, organizational changes, and so forth. And this is where many organizations I see are experiencing what I call a creativity hangover, where it all has stopped from going forward. And as an example, just look what happens to, when bigger companies buy startups. And it's always, always, always better to aim for a good culture first, because you can't fix that with a process or systematics. Then secondly, organizational adaptation towards creativity and innovation, just like Sirte mentioned, it's all about creating that space. We often think of creativity as this, warm, flying feeling that every moment of creativity should be in this nice, lovely flow. But oh no. You have to learn how to handle 99 bad ideas to find the one good without losing hope. And just think about, Edison and his thousands of attempts before he succeeded with the light bulb. And another barrier is the lack of acceptance for the fact that innovation takes time, and for the ones that are not as fast. And very few organizations I see today help people with, mental strategies to relate to fast and new innovation, so that people can feel confident, secure, optimistic about bringing their ideas to the forefront. I mean, the world will never be as slow as it is today. And don't think stress, think strategies and mindset, just like Joakim said as well. I mean, the technology today actually opens up to opportunities to more creativity. I mean, anyone can create a product today as long as you have an idea. But however, as they also said, very few organizations have really created that space and environment for innovation and creativity to take place. And just the last one, skill sets and capabilities. What business talents do we need to hire to rise to this? Another barrier I see is that organizations still fails to focusing on hiring people with the skills for innovation and creativity. And what is often much worse is that there are already many people in the organizations that are being underutilized for their skills in this area.
Thank you very much. Moving on to the next question. We all know that there's no silver bullet, but what do you think are the top 3 things that companies should focus on in order to create an innovative culture? Sirte, would you like to start with this?
I think I like to talk about the DOT methodology or DOT idea that firstly you need to dare. So you need to dare to make a leap of faith, to dare to do things differently than you or your organization or how other companies are used to doing things. Also, you need to dare to let your employees innovate. So bringing that culture in, as Veronika said, that there is space for employees, and maybe also if you're thinking about co-creation, to bring in your customers to innovate with you. So you should open up your company and not do all of the innovation doesn't happen inside of your own doors. So dare to be there, open and maybe even vulnerable. And then also help your employees to dare come forward with their ideas so that they can actually have a platform where they can say that, okay, this is something that I would recommend that we do, and for the benefit, for the good of our customers. So that's there. Then there's O for observe. So you need to really know the needs and wants of your audience, whether you're talking about customer experiences or employee experiences. Because many times, though, these so-called innovations don't solve a real problem. And then, therefore, I wouldn't call them really innovations, and they're not really truly innovative in the sense that it's not for real life purposes that they have been created. It's more of a technological advance or something similar. So I think that us Finns, we're technologically very advanced and very out there, and even famous for it. But I think that we should concentrate more on what can be done with those technological innovations, so as to really answer these needs and wants. And then lastly, the third thing I would mention is the T. So really the dot on the I of innovation, I think, is the we part, where I think everything is about team play. So you should trust your team and teamwork, because at the end nobody gets there alone, really. So you should also, it's not just about your own company and your own team and your closest colleagues, but you should really look around, because there's also many ecosystems. Today's business has become this ecosystems game. So I think that these, like DOT, are the three most helpful things that companies should focus on. And there are many .coms out there. So I guess Finland is also famous for being a global hub for the startups and all of the investors running to slush events and things like that. So for everybody, it's good that we are playing together and not just thinking about ourselves.
Great, thanks. Veronika, do you want to add?
Yeah, absolutely. That's great, Sirte. I fully agree with that. And to continue to build on the barriers we talked about before. I mean, let's get to the solutions, right? So number one, focus again on the culture and the organizational adaptation to creativity and innovation. And that means, for me, break the rules. If you are the rule following type, you won't survive tomorrow. Make your own rules, them, bend them, break them, renew them. It means, just as Sirte said, you have to be courageous, because avoidance of risk will keep you from evolving fast enough. So let me give you 3 quick tips on breaking old rules for innovation. Number one, again, as Sirte said, give people 10% of their time, budget, and talents dedicated to create radical experiments. People need to be given time to think. Secondly, you could create innovation incubator teams in your organization, well protected from bureaucracy, a place where this new culture can arise. And then thirdly, create this disruption army. Just as companies put in this control, rules, governance, and auditors, making sure you're compliant, create a team of disruptors who go around in the organization and helps them to see where innovation can be created. And then as number 2, coming back to this skill set, hiring, recruitment, and capabilities, always hire culture before structure. Hire the people that don't fit into your company. Find the loners, the connectors, the watchers, the runners, the thinkers, the doers, the makers, the breakers, the questioners, the answerers. Hire anyone as long as they're passionate about your customers. And of course, don't forget about the people you already have. Just think, if you already have Steve Jobs or Elon Musk somewhere in your company, how are you managing that? Is your organization set up to make them thrive? And then lastly, for anyone personally, accept that innovation is messy and chaotic, trying, failing, starting over and learning. And then also I give this advice to CEOs, keep getting yourself a 20-year-old mentor, because they will always be your future customers. And this is really the time, to reinvent yourself, learn, unlearn, think, unthink, and connect the dots. You will see another picture, and, that's your creative future.
Thank you very much. Joakim?
So I think that the 3 things are, first of all, to hire right, secondly, to connect deeper, and third, to tell the story. So what do I mean to hire right? Yeah, Veronika was saying it, but to hire right people with the people skills such as empathy and higher EQ, and the deep understanding about experience matters skills, that as an example can understand and how to really use big data to create new experiences based on patterns and behaviors that your customer has. And when I say hire, I mean how to attract, how to recruit, how to onboard, how to develop, and also how to terminate employees based on the core values. And as Veronika did say today, also to hire people that are really passionate about people. That is to hire right. And when I say to connect deeper, I mean to connect deeper even with customers, to actually understand their, first of all, pre-understanding of the phenomena, and also their preconception of the actual problems, their needs, their day-to-day hustle, and their desire about the better future. So if you do not understand the desire about the better future of your customers, how could you then start to develop something? So, and then also to tell that story, that strong story about the better future for the customers internally. So, and third, to tell that story about the better future for your customers, and what kind of value that innovation could bring to the table, and from there to spark the innovation process with deep storytelling about the better future for your customers. And I think deep storytelling is super important for people to be even more passionate about that better future for your customers. So hire right, to connect deeper with your customers, and to tell the story, the strong story about the better future. That's my 3 things to focus on.
Right, thank you very much. Moving on. Veronika, if you'd like to take this one to start. So what leading companies or industries have been successful in implementing this?
Yeah, so I think number 1, I guess, is just to skip the suits and go for the jeans and trainers, which we see around a lot now. I mean, it's coming back to the point Joakim was making about be human, see the people. And I think about it as different cogs to serve the customer well. And the first one is about understanding that convenience is the new loyalty. If you look at booking.com or Uber and I ask you, are you in love with the brand? And you're not really. I mean, we're in love with the interface, not the brand. So the rising star is about value to customers, not brand. Secondly, might be a bit geeky, but having a good platform strategy will make or break. Because today it's a little bit of winner takes it all, like Amazon and again, Uber. Another example we're seeing, BMW and Volvo, they're creating their own platforms for car sharing. They're going from car maker to mobility platform. However, it's no picnic to make that choice and decide to invest in a very big platform strategy. But if you get it right, you could get the whole market. And then thirdly, just as Joakim said as well, it's about getting it right in artificial intelligence. Advancing technologies are allowing us to find better ways to interact with customers. And it's not just about creating something cool and new or digital. But as we continue to exist in this world of digital hysteria, the winners are the ones that use the data and analytics, but interface it and sanity check in a human way. I mean, the timeless principles of human behaviors are vital to have in the CX toolbox, since about 80% of technical advancement is about people adoption. So the winners are the ones that the algorithm all the way to people's hearts.
Great, thank you. Joakim, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I think, of course, I raised and born in Sweden, and we do have Stockholm is one of the most innovative capitals in the world right now, and from there we could see, for example, Spotify. When Spotify hired the former Lady Gaga manager Troy Carter as a global head of creator services, he started to kind of dig into big data and to understand the behavior from within the Spotify users, and started to create new data-powered personalized playlists like Discover Weekly based on your pattern and listening pattern, and also fresh finds and released radar, where this kind of services was reeling into millions and millions of new listeners. And actually I do use those new features every day today, because I'm so love with Spotify and how they present me music that I love, because to build those playlists and whatever, it's take lots of time, and Spotify innovated with big data to understand what normally I do listen to, and from there create new services. So Spotify is a perfect example. The other examples is IKEA. We know IKEA very well, and the IKEA experience management team, what they do to really understand the problems that the customers have in the day-to-day lives is to live 24/7 for 2 weeks in home of families, to really understand and to get into the day-to-day hassle and the problems that families and people do have in their lives. And from there, do take this kind of data with them home and start to create new products and products that also make the difference in their lives. So number 2 is IKEA. And I think also the third brand is also Swedish. When I say smooth payments, I think Klarna has done a fantastic work how to pay your bills with just a couple of clicks in your mobile phone. So if you dig into the process of Klarna and smooth payments and how they have disrupted the whole bank industry now in Sweden, in the Nordics, and they are going abroad and to the US right now. They are really banging all the banks on their head, because with Klarna Smooth Payments, it's fun and enjoyable to pay your bills. So and I think yeah, they are doing something really, because they understand the problems that the customer has in their day-to-day life. And that's the key here, to really be innovative and to understand the experience that customers has.
I need to check this out if it's fun to pay your bills, because
It's actually it's super fun to pay your bills, because you have full control in your app, and just 1 or 2 clicks, and then you pay your bills, and it's so fantastic.
Amazing. I'll have to have a look into that.
Yeah.
Sirte, would you like to add anything?
I think about creativity and innovation, I instantly think about the long Nordic heritage of Nordic design and design thinking and all of these. I think really represents to me what innovation is all about. So we all have like these big architects such as Alvar Aalto and all of those guys. But taking it back to this today, I think that, and if I'm thinking about my .dot model, so if you think about companies that dare, I would think that Lego is an obvious choice. I mean, this year they have been selected as the world's most reputable company, but they've had their ups and downs, and they have always been able to dare to change and dare to change for the good of their customers. So, you know, their purpose is inspiring and developing the builders of tomorrow. So they have been all the time creating with their, not just through their designer employees, but also with their customers, new products and services. And, you know, last year, 60% of their products were new. So I don't think you can think of many companies who have so many new products in the pipeline the whole time and still goes strong. And the Lego Group, actually, they outpaced the toy industry and grew both their consumer sales, revenue, profit, market shares in all of their major markets, and did a strong double-digit growth in China. So they are really out there for the builders and creators and makers of this world, I think, and really an embodiment of creativity. Everything they do reflects really, really innovation, and just a stroll in the Lego house that they newly opened up a few years back, and their new headquarters from last fall. I mean, that's just, I would love to work for that company, I guess. Then a second group of industries or companies, I think, is about this observational point of view, is understanding what is really turning people on today is one of the main things in this life, I think, is sustainability. And people always ask me for good references for companies who are doing good CX in B2B market. And I think nobody's heard about Sulapak, probably, but they are one of the fastest growing sustainability companies in Finland, and I guess also globally. So they're in the plastic reduction and packaging, business. And I think that they are doing a tremendous job of what they're doing. Also, a few companies, other companies from Finland, such as Reima, they think that children deserved better earth for their play and for their growth. And they've done a lot of, coming back to what I said earlier on about technology and technological enablement. So what they have done is take the technology and used it as an enabler for better customer experiences. With, for instance, Reima Go, which is basically what do you call, like a kind of a watch that you give to your children, and then they go out and play, and it becomes like a digital experience of their whole day. And then they do this quite recently, this Reima Voyager jackets, that are outdoor jackets, where you can actually follow the whole life cycle of that jacket, from you being maybe the first owner, and then it going to the next owner and the next owner, and all the way till it's recycled. So you can go online and see where your jacket is and who's kind of, it's a act of sustainability to me. And that's something that is really important today, because many of today's consumers are actually betting on companies who actually think sustainably and have a corporate responsibility and they're also acting on it. Another good company, I think, is the lifestyle and design company Marimekko, also from Finland. And I think that they have been doing many sustainable things in, like, recently doing this first ever printed clothes made of wood fabric. So that's kind of an interesting innovation there. But also they're doing lots on their global retail customer experiences, such as like creating in Japan, their embassies are nowadays, their stores are now the embassies of Finland, basically, because they're playing music from old Finnish films and bringing really the Finnish cultural heritage into those stores. So it's an interesting thing that they do there. Thirdly, if you still bear with me, is the part about team play. I think that many people have been really wondering about why the gaming industry is so big in Finland, and everybody knows, Remedy and Rovio and the Supercell, the creators of really cool games. But I think we come back to what we were earlier on discussing about culture, that the culture in the gaming industry is really something special. I have been able to follow it through. I had a customers such as Rovio, and also I have friends who are working for Remedy and other gaming companies. So for instance, recruitment, none of the companies are competing about recruitment in the sense that if you were to be recruited from Remedy to Rovio or from Supercell to Remedy or vice versa, they wouldn't be talking to you ever again, but rather they are sharing their stories, they're doing testing together and trying to do everything so that everybody really wins, and there's not one single company who will be over everybody else. So I think there's two really nice stories, if I may, about, for instance, this Finnish company, that Kotka, that went onto the US market, and they hit it so hard that they actually ran out of server capacity very, very shortly after they had launched their game, and suddenly just two persons from Supercell went and helped. They were these, server optimization guys, and they just took 2 days off from Supercell and basically went there, helped the Kotka company with their servers, optimizing them, and saved the company and with their present equipment. And actually nobody paid or nobody asked them to do that, but they just wanted to help their friend. Similar example is in another company in Turku, where about a week after their launch, they had a break-in, and everything basically was stolen. All of their equipment, servers, even the furniture, tables were stolen, and they just sent this social media message saying that, like, we can't go on with our company anymore. Sorry guys, it's over, game over for us. But what happened was that everybody from other gaming companies found their leftover servers and furniture and whatnot, and they were up and running in the next day, basically, when everybody was helping them. So there's some kind of a buddy system in the gaming industry that really helps not just the companies to have better talent, but also because you're not leaving your buddies behind. Everybody really finally wins from that, doing that team play and being together in that industry.
Yeah, those are great stories. It really does go to show what a small act of kindness can do for somebody, whether it's saving their company or helping them with a launch or anything like that. So I think there's a lot to be learnt from those two stories. We're approaching the end of our time.
Okay. So I think that's just something that we should all learn from, that let's help each other and let's make better customer and employee experiences together.
100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. So I wanted to ask the audience whether they had any questions for our speakers. There's a chat pod just on the lower right-hand side of your screen. So if you have any questions that you've picked up from this that you'd like answered, please write away now. Just while you're writing away, I'm just going to remind you that we have 2 more webinars in this series, tomorrow and the day after, the Russian region and also the United Kingdom and Ireland. We've got some amazing speakers on there as well. So if you enjoyed this and would like to hear from some other speakers, then please join us on those. So do we have any questions, or doesn't seem like anybody's typing? Well, we have one final question. Oh, no, we do have somebody typing, so just wait for that. No, that's it. Okay. Well, thank you very much to all 3 of you. It's been an amazing afternoon of some great content, some great stories there. So thank you all for joining us as well.
Well, thank you, and look forward to the European Awards. Woohoo!
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Definitely see you all there.
Yeah.
Thank you. And if anybody's a CXPA member who's going to join the Global Insight Exchange, let's see you there. I'm going to do a Lego Serious Play session there. So you're going to get to play with Legos.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed it. Goodbye.